Hi, welcome to Mystic Frequency. I'm Lisa and I'll be your collective pick-up pile today. And so we actually have three choices for what March is trying to reveal and give for you for your growth this month. And normally I would do a 5 pile, but I ran out of time and was only able to get to 3. Now I'm excited for this full moon. And if you have already had a pile already instantly selected in your mind, you are more than welcome to go ahead and go into the timestamp and start the reading off. But if you need a little bit more time, let's share some things that are going on with this full moon. So this full moon is in Virgo. So there's a lot of personal growth and culmination that is being mixed into this energy that's here today. So this is a great cosmic reset for us where we can start organizing the things that we may have been putting on the back burner or have needed a bit more emphasis on, like our health, what our body needs, and any kind of routine that we need to make ritual, so that way we can stay committed to our goals and, put more emphasis on our self-worth. So the big key here for this March moon is self-care, releasing perfectionism, overthinking, and self-criticism. And because this was in a lunar eclipse, so this is a deep need for reflection on the past 18 months that we may have had habits or limiting beliefs that hurt us rather than, served their purpose. And it's decluttering your mind, your environment, so that way you can create a much more clear focus on the things that really matter to you. Now, the way these piles are going to break down is we're going to look at the crystal icebreaker, which these could be certain fears, things that are going to be illuminated into, underneath this full moon light, or it's just something that the moon is bringing for you to really pay attention to be aware of. Then we're going to look at an affirmation that we're going to take from this moon. If you don't already know this, I'm a big affirmation kind of gal. Self-love oracle. Then we'll look at the divine masculine and feminine oracle that will, display itself. Sometimes it's a good oracle, and sometimes it's a, hey, let's put our foot on the brake and really look and see if we have been neglecting, those masculine energies or those feminine energies, and they need to come out. Then we're going to look at a specific guide or spirit that is currently working with you. And I use the Wild Unknown Tarot for this. And just really the basic feeling of how they are going to represent themselves while they are working through your growth and transformation during this moon cycle. And then we're going to look at a starseed reflection, because I did talk a little bit about reflecting the past 18 months. So I'm going to read from the Starseed Oracle book that I have. I'm not too familiar with the cards. That's why I lean heavily on, reading from the book. And then the last thing we are going to look at is the cosmic reset that is going to be coming through to your life. And if you don't already know this, I'm a big lover of moons and moon cycles and, practicing release and receiving and planting, you name it. I am the gardener for the moon. and I know I kind of jumped into this intro really quick, so I apologize if I seemed like I was like throwing everything out the door, just trying to force things out there. But I'm kind of like under a crutch, it feels like. I don't know what it is about this moon, but I feel like there's such a thing as, not missing an opportunity. So that's one of the things that this reading is going to, help you, is realize if there's an opportunity that is being presented and how you can take action and make the best results of that opportunity. And so I felt like Spirit wanted to keep it short and sweet, and I can honestly hear less is more coming in the back of my mind. But let's go ahead and do some benevolent intentions and then breath work, and then y'all can go ahead and head on over to your piles if you haven't already. But benevolent spirit guides, ancestors, divine creator, and the highest good version of ourselves that we can become today with this listener present, please help them choose a pile that will resonate with them mostly, if not entirely, and always remember to help them choose what is working in their life and understanding their situations based off what is revealed today, and to help them continue to make positive impacts on their health, understanding how worthy they are to themselves and others, and to, focus on self-care during this month. But thank you so much for your divine support and constant reassurance in these readings, and continue to bless those that are here today. With much appreciation and love from your student and teachers. Now let's go ahead and do 3 deep breaths where we are focusing on a pile. We're going to release what we need to release and then receive the blessings that, our divine guidance is trying to give us today. So let's breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Last one, breathe in, breathe out. All right, if you're ready to select your pile, go right ahead. Hello and welcome, my beautifuls. So let's go ahead and dive into what this moon is trying to show is growing in your life, or what you need to focus on reflecting about, or even what you are resetting in your life. But let's go ahead and look at the crystal here. And I know I normally don't reveal the cards already off the bat, but I felt like I wanted to go ahead and reveal the cards, especially with the crow being here. So we have garnet, sexuality, life force, intensity, the sexual healing in its highest form. Garnet is a stone of love, passion, and devotion, removing blocks to the desires of the heart. Step into your sexual power and embrace your body, removing all judgments that stand in your way of you and your pleasure. When used in tandem with tantric sex, garnet can heighten the experience, attracting partners that can help heal sexual trauma. Garnet helps identify and illuminate self-sabotaging behaviors, expanding your connection to mind, body, and spirit. So, first off with this card, here's the biggest thing that this moon is trying to illuminate for your life. Not just, and this is talking about, when, the doors are closed and the lights are out, how do you appear to yourself? Garnet is a gemstone that is wanting you to love your body more than anyone else. Because if someone is not going to love your beauty the way you were molded and perfected, then they have no purpose whatsoever being around your loving energy. This is the kind of crystal that I see someone is giving so much of themselves at the expense of them going without. Open up to others more after this moon. Open up to what works for you. You should know what I'm talking about. Just because I'm not squeamish whenever I'm talking about this. It's more like you could even feel a little bit squeamish about actually opening up to, this kind of energy and, tapping into, things that really bring about your own desires, that, makes your heart flutter, if you will, or, get you excited. It's like rewarding yourself even. But open up to what works for you. Be in a relationship that helps heal any fear you have, not create it. And make your beauty box standard be represented. If you feel like you don't have a version of you that you see in media, in movies, on Instagram and TikTok, whatever the case may be, I am seeing more empowered individuals embracing all of themselves, and I am so thankful for the content that they put out there in the world without worrying about how they look, because sometimes we start to become disillusioned by, presence and how people appear, but the most beautiful thing that you can be is just yourself. And this crow is wanting you to look at the past, the present, the future, and seeing how you can find more love for yourself, love for, and this honestly makes me think of an inner child oracle card I have that talks about looking at a specific photograph that you have and loving it, love it, actually force the love to come out. So that way you don't have this, inner critic within you telling you you're not good enough. You need to hide everything, that you need to put on extra layers. And there's nothing wrong if that is just how you like to present yourself. Like, if you do want to look comfy and find that very alluring, there's nothing wrong with that. And I embrace it. But it's like finding a partner that sees desire no matter what you are wearing. And that could be what you're trying to bring into your life, is you're looking up to this moon and saying, I want to have a mindful ritual around how I can be comfortable in my own skin and be around another person. This could be finding people who need a support group, even like if, when it gets closer to, warmer weather and everybody's going out, go shopping with a coworker, go shopping with a close friend, and find ways to, be that queen, be that king that is just okay with who you are, and find those that will support you and, lift you up when you need to. But this card over here, before I go off it, but Garnet is just helping you look at, how you can express yourself without fear in all ways. Not just, what goes on in the external world, but what also goes behind the bedroom doors. So think about that today, of rather than being scared of showing something in the light, actually want to show something in the light. So we have green aventurine, prosperity, fortune, opportunity. Known as the good luck stone or the stone of opportunity, aventurine is used to attract abundance into your life. It propels growth, not just physically, but also personally, presenting learning opportunities for your soul's evolution. Aventurine also aligns situations so opportunities appear. Acting as a stabilizing force, aventurine balances male and female energy to bring a soothing harmony between yin and yang. Aventurine can also attract love, complementing the heart chakra and resolving lingering emotional issues. And I love that. I love that I am seeing that my pile one is not settling for less, that they want someone that is willing to put harmony in your life. And yes, this is a moon reading, but what I'm getting from this is what you are getting as a major buffer in your life is how you are operating with those around you in such a way that you don't settle for less and you only want acceptance. That's the biggest key here. And doing what feels good for you. You're learning, you're growing, and you're practicing. You're recognizing opportunities, especially romantic ones, that are going to be good for you. And your affirmation is, I am playful. And you've got to be playful. You've got to experiment and try things that work. And if they don't, then, not beating yourself up, but experimenting, being playful, hiring your vibration is your self-love oracle, turning on your favorite song, because anything that lights you up, your body will move much more naturally to that. And just being a magnetic pull to the things that, you enjoy doing, others are slowly falling in the samba, if you will, wanting to do the tango with you. And I know that sounds really corny and cheesy, and I apologize, but this is a time for you to be you and the most authentic that you can possibly be. Play with your looks, play with, how and I don't know how to say this. It's like when you're trying to be flirty, it's like, how do I be flirty? And then it's like, well, what is your mating call? And the crow in here is just like, oh, please don't go there. um I just imagine someone cawing at another person, and it's just like it's playing Marco Polo is what I'm hearing. You're playing Marco Polo and looking for your polo. And the way you're doing that is like you're going out into the world and you're using your caw. Literally. And your guide is being really funny about this, I will say. So now I'm leaning into your guide's energy that's coming through. This is someone that is very spiritually strong and attached to you and wants you to recognize that you were just as spiritually strong as well. And you can pick up on the things that are going on around you. And I do feel like one thing that this crow is wanting me to talk about is the fact that the instant a door opens up for you, do you actually walk through it, or do you create an obstacle or an obstruction that prevents you from actually being able to go through that door? Because this crow has the ability to tap into the past, present, and future. So this makes me think of you being kind of scared of what you can actually see and unfold. And they're wanting you to look at any fears that you may have, especially what this garnet crystal was talking about, and not letting them prevent you from having the best bedroom life that you can possibly have. I don't know how else to express that, but learning as you are growing. I never thought I would have a reading that, talked about this, but, we got to be able to talk about everything. We can't just, close our eyes off to, and only talk about, the things that everybody wants to talk about. Let's talk about the things that everybody's scared to talk about, and, opening up to any kind of trauma that may have occurred in your past. So that way you can develop a routine or ritual that helps give you strength to really play and create new memories for yourself. But this crow is helping you clear your mind and probably pushing and nudging you to create daily meditation as a source of information for you to kind of like wind down and, reflect and think about what it is that you would like to manifest in your life. And they're going to help lean you towards healthy diets, surrounding yourself with joyful friends or people who, caw and sound like you. The other thing that this crow does, and it makes me think of the fact that it's surrounding you with people who are not going to let you be around lower negative energies. Like this crow has been with you for generations. This crow is, they remembered something. This makes me think of, karmic relationships. And that is something to reflect about, is it's letting you know that there may have been an energy that has manifested in this life as well. It is a karmic relationship, and they will let you know the warning signs of what that would be. So that way you can heal what needs to heal and then step into a more brighter version of yourself that you are striving to become, where you're not just illuminated by this dark energy. But they don't want you to be scared when you do come across a relationship like this. If anything, let that be a relationship that you learn more about yourself or anything that is reflected. And regular self-study. So actually study yourself. When you look yourself in the mirror and actually study, what makes your eyes light up. Think about those things. This makes me think of scrying or candlelit gazing even, but focus on how you want to be presently and what direction you are going. Like, where is that future road taking you? And if there's anything going on that you need to address. Maybe you don't open up about some of the insecurities that you have, And this is a great way to kind of like look at those insecurities. Why are they an insecurity that you have? And how can you be brave and challenge that part of yourself that you're scared to share? Now, your starseed reflection, I guess we're going to go ahead and talk about karmic relationships, since that seems to be the thing that's catching my eye. But let me go ahead and get the book out for y'all. So we have karmic relationships, Orion. Oh my God, I don't know why I can't say that name today. I have never had Orion energy, polarity, self-growth, conflict. The constellation Orion is thought by many to have been a place of great polarity and eventually unity. Some believe that many starseeds who were part of this cosmic history are incarnate on Earth now and are playing out karmic relationships from Orion times. Perhaps you're one of them. Polarity causes conflict and highlights separation. However, because of this, conflict can also result in unity and growth. Too many misunderstandings are caused when we don't open our heart and mind and see things from a different point of view. When we go into reactive second-guessing mode instead of gathering the courage to open our heart, we should admit that we may have reacted because of our own woundings and then find mutual ground. We're all innocent children looking to be seen, understood, and cherished. It's much harder to grow closer through conflict than it is to grow further apart. And yet, that's the invitation of conflict. It's easy to react and take things personally. It's more challenging to see the innocence of all involved and find a way to grow closer through the conflict. It's through relationships that we grow the most. How can you soften your heart and drop your defenses enough to see things from a different point of view? How can you see the innocence of all involved, and how can you learn to see the similarities rather than the differences? So, Starseed reflection inquiry: which relationships do you find most challenging? How can you see things from a different perspective? How are you being called to allow growth through conflict? So if you do have issues expressing this part of, your life and your experiences and opening up to this is a great opportunity for you to heal these wounds and, what caused mistakes. Because everyone has a relationship, and, you have your trials and tribulations, you have your highs and your lows, and sometimes we bring a past kind of energy into our relationships, and it's like we're looking for all the red flags right off the bat. And I love that. Okay, that makes a lot more sense why Spirit decided to give you 2 crystals, so that way you can see the green flags and let those highlight more than like those red flags that are going on. But it's trusting your intuition, trusting what is going to make you more fortunate and give you the best opportunities that bring you, that balance between your divine feminine and male energy. And what kind of relationships are challenging? And this doesn't necessarily mean talking about, a specific relationship between a man and a woman. This can talk about mother relationships, father relationships, any relationship that has a defined role, and seeing how, if you can work through those, then you're going to gain a much better perspective and, grow when things do get a little bit difficult for you. But you're reflecting on the relationships that have either helped you grow, helped your soul grow, or helped you see how you deal with conflict. And I didn't talk about the divine feminine and masculine energy, but you are beyond patient and understanding. You are very patient. You would probably tend to let someone ride the roller coaster that is on fire, with the hopes that eventually they would put the fire out themselves. And I'm saying that very symbolically. But there's a time and place for everything, especially if you have been more than understanding. open up, talk about, your needs, your desires, the things that you aspire to be, or what you want in a relationship. Actually put it out on the table, especially if you are just now entering a new relationship. Go ahead, put it all out on the table and basically be saying, okay, this did not work, and there are things that I have to work on, but in order for this to work, I have to also have my own needs met. But before I go off, let me go ahead and talk about the Seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Mintaka is thought to have been a water-based planet containing the most crystal clear waters you could ever imagine. So clear that you could see for miles and miles underwater. The Seas of Mintaka card represent this crystalline clarity of potential and possibility. It's about the ability and choice to see the potential in all people and situations. This could be one of your natural traits, or it could be a sign that you're currently doing has great potential. Mintakans are thought to have been a galactic race who saw the light in everything and everyone. You may have received this card as confirmation that a situation or project has extreme potential and will reach fruition. If it appears in a spread, it's a very positive sign that things are working out for the highest potential of all involved. It's a very uplifting, light-filled card that brings great harmony, contentment, and positive outcomes. According to Carl Jung, that which we do not bring to consciousness appears in our life as fate. When water appears in dreams and art, it often represents the unconscious mind. Pulling this card also means you may be called to bring to light any unconscious patterns of which you're unaware, to look at them and see them clearly and consciously so that way they do not appear in your life as fate. What unconscious patterns or behaviors are ready to be brought to the light of the day? And one of the Starseed soul inquiries is, how can you see the potential in a situation you're facing, and what unconscious patterns are you bringing or being called to bring to the light? And I love that this card came out in the reflection piece that we're talking about, because this is what has been going on in the last 18 months, guys. This is literally a year and a half of, things that have accumulated over time. And now you're having to really throw it in the moonlight and saying, okay, I see it clearly now before me. And so you're breaking thought patterns. You're breaking anything that did not serve your highest good. And, you're seeing the light in everything. You're being positive here. And I love this card. This is probably my new favorite card from this deck. But let's go ahead and see what is being reset. I know we've kind of been building into this, but the main thing that is being reset here is, having enlightenment from your own imagination. You are envisioning what can be created in reality, and you're reflecting on what works versus what doesn't, and how it makes you feel good. That's what you're thinking about, is what is going to help me feel good? Where is my mind? Is my mind up here in the clouds, or am I feeling the emotions? Am I actually looking at what opportunities are being presented to me, and am I paying attention to what I'm fantasizing about? And how am I able to bring that fantasy, down to earth? It's connecting the dots and creating the outputs that you need. But the Seven of Cups, especially with, the number 7, we are reflecting. We are in self-study is a big thing here. Reflection, self-study, making an assessment, and being playful and figuring out, okay, is this what we have going on? Is it mixing right? Or are we finding that, we have red light, green light going on, and Mother May I at the same time? But whatever you are trying to create right now has the most potential, has the potential for healing, for growth. And all you have to do to reset this button is, make a decision after you've reflected on what you really want, especially in your relationships. And, actually start communicating, opening up, getting in the feels, being, understanding. Be understanding of what you have going on around you. But that is your reading, my dears. If you enjoyed this reading, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how it resonates. And I'm always open to feedback or even suggestions, guys. So if you want to see different types of readings, you are more than welcome to put that in the comments. But I'm going to go ahead and head on over to the other pile, and you are more than welcome to choose another if you'd like. Bye. Hello, pile 2, my beautiful dears. Let's go ahead and look to see what is being illuminated underneath this moonlight. So we have emerald, spring, unity, vitality. Lush and reminiscent of the green of spring, emerald is known as the stone of successful love, stimulating loyalty, partnership, and friendship. Emerald opens the heart chakra, healing the auric field with unconditional love, hope, and joy. With exuberance and a lust for life, the emerald is a sign for new beginnings and a fresh step in life, radiating health, prosperity, and vitality. Grow in the direction of your dreams and nurture yourself along the way. You deserve the riches that life has to offer you. So, what's being illuminated, or even a potential fear, is feeling as if that you don't deserve all the good things that there are in life. And your guides are basically trying to say, stop that crap that is going on in your mind and recognize that you do deserve to have treasure and gold and, any dream that you have that is being created in your mind. You deserve to go after those things and to nurture yourself and to have a long lasting love where you both are very loyal to each other, that you see a partner, a friend, and you have the ability to open up and unconditionally love one another. And this can even talk about friendships. This can talk about your coworker wives and husbands that you have. These are people that they make you feel good. They accept you. They let you start off in this, this. So I am looking at the earthworm down here, and this is a spirit guide. And I know I may be kind of like going in a different direction, but anytime we have earthworm energy, we're shy. We're a little bit hesitant. We don't know how we're going to fit in. As soon as we, open up and start something new in our life. But as long as we are holding that place in our heart where, we are excited for the new things that are going on and we are actually wanting to take that first step. Now, full moon in Virgo is also called the worm moon, I believe, for March. And so this is a time when everything has been dormant, everything has been sleeping. And now it's your time to actually leave the ground, get up, and start, wiggling in the direction that you want to go in. And, and this makes me think of fishing for the right catch, the thing that you're wanting to get that has the biggest, I don't know why I was going to say meat, but you're looking for the juiciest proposition that is going on around you and not feeling shame for it. It's like you've got your best worm on the line and you're casting it out, and you are making sure that, your affirmation is, I am happy and I am strong. I am strong because I am happy. And the more that you put weight into that area of your life, that does bring you this sense of joy, sense of happiness, that, you find that people are accepting of you when you are learning something new. This could be learning something new about yourself, or you were just in a new field of some kind. This could talk about a new career or thing that you are developing here. But you are finding your strength by putting yourself in, the kind hands of another and letting them kind of take this time to grow and develop. And your self-care oracle for this month is check your pulse and control its beats to a slow, calm rhythm. This works great for anybody that is starting off new. And earthworm energy, it's basically saying to not feel intimidated or lose hope, especially when you do make a mistake. You know what you're skilled in. Own it. If you have a degree in a specific field of study, or if you are using a skill that you have developed forever, but you're in a new area that has the exact same skill level that you have, it's like, how do I open up and show others that I've got what it takes? Master the practice, the feeling of wanting to practice, to explore, to try new things. And, this makes me think of, like how a baby becomes, skilled at walking. They have to first to roll around on their stomachs, and then they eventually start to crawl, and then they gain their balance, and then but they have the support of their parents along the way, kind of like helping them, find a place for their energy to be. And there is so much, valuable insight that a fresh mind can bring, and this card talks about that, and I'm a firm believer in that. Whenever I worked in retail, I loved whenever I got a new associate, because whenever we would be doing a new process, or we would be doing something that we do normally every day, hearing a different way of doing something or getting an experience from someone else's previous job was very refreshing. And it was like, hey, I'm always for trying something new, as long as we didn't break a safety violation. But, breathe, control your heart's rhythm, and actually look forward to the new things that are being illuminated in your life. And, if that's a fear you have, is the unknown, trust you've already been underground for a long period of time now. And now's your time to explore the world, do what you want to do. And one thing you can do to really help you with this energy, because this earthworm is coming in here, and I know some people are like, my guide's a worm. And I'm like, guys, this worm is going to get you your next breakfast. I'm just saying, the early bird gets the worm, the bigger the worm, the bigger the catfish. But this is the guide that is going to get you the bigger reward, the bigger catch. I just can't emphasize that enough, that like, you don't understand, like, you are about to get something because of this guide. And it's like, don't diss it, don't ignore it, and take the wisdom that this earthworm has to give you, and be like, thank you, earthworm, even though I can't pick them up. Thank you for being here. And one of the divine feminine and masculine things that is coming through is knowing when you overreact in a situation, or because it's like you already have, the worst of the worst is already there. And then, or when something blindsides you, you are given a piece of information, and it's like the immediate thing to do is to react. And so going back to that child that is learning how to walk, or a child that is learning a new skill or expectation of them, you got to have that positive reinforcement here to really make it successful. And if you scare the child from whatever this situation is or block is, and, like if you're trying to teach them fire, show them how to have respect for fire. And I had a ninth grade science teacher that I really enjoyed his class. And one thing that he did with his daughter, whenever she started to experience interest in fire, because her father was a pyromaniac teacher, any chance he could do an experiment in our class with fire, he was all about it, even if he didn't have it planned for the day. Side story within this story is, if you never wrote your name on a paper, he would light it on fire and throw it in the trash can, because he said there's no point in him grading something if someone doesn't have their name attached to it. That could be very important for you, is if you are developing something, creating something in your life, or starting something, or you want to be acknowledged for your work, make sure you get your validation for the things that you have worked on. And, be that validator for your work and say, look how I decided to go about this in a different direction. Acknowledge it. Take pride in the baby that I have given you in front of you today. But, look at the ways that you're overreacting. Now, not overreacting, but yes, that card is saying that. Think about how you may overreact in a situation if you have limited information. But going back to my teacher with his daughter, he didn't just let her stick her hand in a fire that was on the stove. Basically what he did was he had a balloon, and he's basically saying, this is what's going, and that's horrible to think about what you could do to somebody's memory. But he basically told his daughter, who could understand him and be able to repeat what he was saying. But he said, we don't touch fire because this is what can happen to our hands when we do. And he basically stuck a balloon on the stove, and it burst and scared the living tar out of this child. Because when you have the loud noise, the popping, and then the thought of your hand exploding when you touched fire. So that is like, I wanted that to be a positive kind of, thing for you. It's like, but in that child's mind, that is a deep fear for fire that may have been created. So look at the things that may have potentially created a fear that aren't actually all that scary. And over here on the left side is, you are overly focused today on one task. Notice when you find that you're zooming in on something and it's like, oh my God, there's no end to this. I've got a block going on. Or, oh, I have so much that needs to be done around me, but there's just one thing that I would much rather, get off my plate. And think about what you need to prioritize, or what you have been spending too much time ruminating on, so that way you can find a way to release and let go. Because, this moon in Virgo is talking about that inner critic that's up in your mind that is, basically it's like you have that one horrible troll that's running around your mind, and it's just saying everything. And if you leave it unchecked, or you find that you start to acknowledge what this troll is saying in your mind, then, you'll eventually become this troll running around in your own mind. And then you have to break off, oh my God, this is not me. But focus on what is important to you and how much time you want to spend in it. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Starseed reflection, since this moon, has this opportunity to look at 18 months, so a year and a half worth of work or habits that we have developed and what we need to reflect on. The first one we are going to look at is Breath of the Cosmos, My Will to Thy Will, Micromanaging the Universe. When we rely only on our own will, we're micromanaging the universe and resisting the natural flows of life. We're not trusting the mysterious breath of life. We're rejecting the great cosmic intelligence and relying instead on our personal strength. When we do this, we find ourselves attempting to bend things to our will. We spend our time forcing, pushing, and living from a space of trying to. Everyone around us can feel it, and the universe can too. And I love that this is kind of like talking about that, being so focused on a task, trying to force it, trying to make it work, trying to, be on the same page as everybody, or trying to force everybody to be on the same page as us, or, have the reaction that we want them to have to a situation. And it's like nobody is sensing the impending doom. Nobody is sensing the what could be down the road from us. But you're being called to stop micromanaging the universe and trust the breath of life, to surrender to the greater will that God has for you, to move from my will to thy will. When you surrender to the greater will of life, you begin dancing with the rest of life. When you bow to the great mystery and say, please use me, please show me the way, little by little, you find yourself living your most fulfilling, authentic life. When you surround your personal will, when you relinquish control and release the way you think things should be and surrender to the greater will, you find yourself being led. You begin breathing the breath of life. Starseed activation. And not that you can put the card on here unless you do have this card, but this is something you can repeat to yourself. I'm willing to stop relying on my own strength and personal agenda. Oh my goodness. Affirmation, I am strong. And you don't need to just use your own strength. You can lean on others as well. You can lean on spirit. But I am willing to stop relying on my own strength and personal agenda and instead surrender to the breath of life. Dear God, help me move from thy will to thy will. Please lead me. Please show me the way. Yes, it's trusting, like I said, this earthworm is in the dark. And the more that it tries to force itself to, go in a specific direction rather than going up where it can be a part of, the sunlight and the trees and the grass, it's just going further and further. Like it's like digging itself. It's like being scared of stepping into the light. But trust that there are those around you that are wanting to come in and kind of help support you. And like, it's not always up to you. You don't have to be the backbone to every little thing that is going on in your life. Like you can trust and not just think that something is going to be a failure if someone was to come in and kind of like assist and help you. The next card I have is I Remember. Soul plan, the fated life versus the destiny life. There was a moment before you were born when you chose the conditions of the life you're living right now. When you plotted out these exact moments along the timeline of your life, we live in a world of free will, and therefore these moments become our destiny only through saying yes. The fated life is the one we were born into. The destiny life is the one our soul chooses, and it takes courage and faith. If you pull this card, it's because you're likely now face to face with the choice to follow the destiny life over the fated life, to trust the path your soul is calling you toward, and to remember that this moment was prearranged on your life's timeline. You may find yourself at a crossroads, at a moment when you're being called to make a decision, to keep walking the perfectly laid out path before you, or choose the one less traveled. You may be facing a change of career, a new relationship, a difficult decision, or something else that requires courage and faith. You're being invited to remember your soul's greater plan and to surrender to it. When you're confronted with a path that's undefined, it's normal for doubt to rear its head. In fact, this is a certain sign that you're facing your soul's greater plan. Every hero in his or her life journey comes eye to eye with doubt. The only way around it is through it. It's all a part of the larger plan. And the Starseed soul inquiry is, what are you being called to do to surrender to your soul's plan? Oh, love it. Love it. I was getting that, the new beginning, new career, new relationship, maybe a difficult decision, not letting things, not overreacting to things and letting, others come in when you can't be strong all the time. I love it, guys. Now, what is being reset? Well, you're getting a major reset. You've got the Ace of Swords coming in, and this Ace of Swords is saying, be honest. Be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with others. Have those courageous conversations that need to be had. If you don't like the way someone is treating you, speak about it, talk about it, put it on the table. And, trying to get across, we can't hear the tone of an email unless someone records it and sends it to us. So if someone sends you a text, just be honest and say, hey, how did you mean for that to be taken? Because, I've got a lot going on in my life. I was just buried under dirt. And now I'm in the sunlight. I'm trying to open up and be honest with others and, try to see what specifically was meant to be said here. And, letting them say what they need to say and recognizing that, everyone has, you know, their own personal truths that need to be expressed. Everyone has their own opinions that, we don't have to agree with everyone's opinions, but at the end of the day, we have to at least let them honor and, agree to disagree. And that was another thing that teacher that I had for science. That was the first thing he wrote on his dry erase board was learn to agree and disagree. So there were going to be a lot of things we were learning about that year and a lot of things that our parents did not, share. So when we would go home after we learned something in science class, I'm just saying this because my last pile talked about a topic that may have been neglected because parents felt uncomfortable talking about, your own personal bedroom life, if you will. And, agree to disagree. Sometimes when we react to something, it's because of how our parents reacted or made us have to, or forced us to avoid a challenging situation or forced us to confront something in an unhealthy way. But recognize that other people have their own personal truths. There is feedback out there, not to just take criticism because, Virgo moon, Virgo energy. I'm a Virgo. I am the biggest critic to myself. And whenever I read a feedback, the first thing I have to do is hold my heart and say, this is for your own good, Lisa. This is going to help you. They did not say they hated you in the text. That is not what was said. And, I care so much about people. I care about making people's lives easier. And, like I'm the type of person that'll come over to your house. And if I think you need help with something, I'm going to help you with it. Be open. And that is one thing that I do struggle with. I struggle with letting others, let me lean in on them so that way I can take a breath. I can breathe. I can actually align myself to what the cosmos is actually wanting me to focus on. But open up and, see when someone is, if you are entering a new career and your nervous system is like, oh my gosh, I'm about to do something wrong. Something is wrong. I'm going to be fired for this. And it was day one. Everybody has day one anxiety. Embrace it. Stay calm, be compassionate, be patient when you're hearing news or information or new processes that are going on. And, be open to learning a new thing, a new way to communicate, even. This Ace of Swords is helping you reset how to compromise, how to create resolutions, and to have breakthroughs, like honest breakthroughs. So that way you're putting the truth first. You are being the truth teller. You are being transparent. You're not beating around the bush. You are the earthworm in this situation. Like if you had a manager that wasn't even in your department and they got upset with you for something you were doing. And I know I keep using work, say you have, you go over to your, your interest, your relationships, family house, and you don't know that they have a superstition of looking at pictures on the wall. That I don't know who would have that as a superstition, but I remember in the back of my mind, my I don't know if it was my grandma or my grandpa that said it's rude to look at the contents of someone's house that they have on display. And growing up, I'm like, that is the rudest thing to tell someone. If you have art in your house that you painted, I want to look at it. I want to acknowledge it and I want to tell you how beautiful it is. Or if you have some fancy fixture or you have a family heirloom that, strikes up a conversation. I know that's a very random thing, but transparency, being honest, and not letting superstitions prevent you from having a healthy relationship. And if somebody goes off the radar and freaks out over something, and it's like, okay, I need to monitor my reaction because I don't know what I've done wrong. So that way, please bring the clarity here. I'm new. Day one. Here's my name badge. It's not even a name badge. It's a sticker on my chest. Also, I have a name that I would like to be called. It's like opening up, open up. This is what this moon is wanting you to do. Being comfortable with a conversation, being comfortable with your inner critic, and, not letting it be a troll running around your mind and telling you what you should be doing when you're like, okay, listen, there is something I need to do, but I'm taking a break from it. But that is your reading, my dears. And if you enjoyed this reading, please like, comment, and subscribe. Always let me know how I can change things up, or if there's a topic you'd like to talk about. Now, the next pick a pile reading I am going to do, I didn't share this with my last pile, but I do plan on doing a reading about opening up to a past loved one. That is something that has been in the back of my mind because I love connecting with my ancestors and ancestors I've never met. So, look out for that. But if you have a topic you would like for me to explore, let me know in the contents. That's what I'm here for, guys. But if you want to go ahead and jump over to another reading, you are more than welcome to. There's no shame in wanting to get as much treasures from this moon. But I'm going to go ahead and hand over to the other pile. But bye, guys. Hello, my pile threes and my beautiful dearest, literally dearest. Let's go ahead and see what is being illuminated underneath this moonlight. Now, this could be a fear. This could be confronting something. So that way you can really take the best amount of growth, nourishment that this moon is trying to bring to you, so that way you can work through anything that needs to be a self-care practice, or even help you look at ways that you may be trying to be a perfectionist, or even, what's the word, when that inner critic is just nagging all the time. But let's go ahead and look at this crystal. And I love obsidian, guys. I'm a big fan of obsidian. I actually have it right here, and I like to have it out in front of me more now than I normally would. But obsidian, shadows, mirror, amorphous. A dark and mysterious crystal, obsidian reaches into the depths of our shadows, shedding light on what needs to be healed in order to move forward. Obsidian serves as a mirror, revealing our deepest truths. Obsidian's crystalline structure is amorphous, moving beyond conventional time to dip into the past, present, and future. And wielding great power to clear any obstacles, use obsidian as a shield against psychic attacks and to ground your base chakra back to planet Earth. So, one thing that I would like to say is being illuminated by this moon is it's showing you anything that used to be a fear. And now every one of my other pals did talk about having some kind of fear that came from a past experience that prevented a individual from wanting to walk through a door, even, or even the potential of being the person that created the obstacles. It was like I doubted that I was meant to have something good in my life. And it's like anytime I have something good, it gets ripped away from me. And your guides are wanting you to see that you are deserving of a fresh beginning, that you do deserve to be able to move forward and heal what you want to heal. And this light is helping you understand what direction you are currently going and how you can acknowledge it. Because this moon can talk about, with the lunar eclipse even, that, we are looking at an 18-month cycle, an 18-month pattern, a year and a half of something that has been, building. It makes me think of a river and all the silt and the silt and the dirt. It's just like it slowly builds up over time to the point where the river now is being redirected in a different flow, or this makes me think of a frequency or a vibration even. And they want you to acknowledge it and either A, start clearing some of the obstacles, or dredging the river is what I'm hearing. I live next to a river, and it used to be a very shallow river that whenever it get real cold, you could actually walk across the river during winter. Now they've since dredged the river, making it deeper so that way it provided a source of commerce, so that way we could, transport whatever we wanted to transport on barges from not just one state but to other states deep within the states, as long as we were taking the river and creating dams. So your guides are wanting you to see your life kind of like this river that is being made, and seeing the potential to carry something greater with it, a legacy even. And after all has been said and done, like, your life is a highway that is going to open up doors for other people to travel down at a much faster rate. This is your energy with this light. What it's saying is like, you are working through all the shadows. You are working through anything that has been a self-limiting belief of some kind, that you couldn't redirect the river in a different direction. You're proving people wrong. Your affirmation for this month is, I'm ready to take action. I'm ready to change a course. I'm ready to do whatever I need possible in this moment to create something new in my life. And your self-love oracle is understanding how unique you are, embracing it, owning it, and understanding the importance of, having all these different diversities that you have within you. Maybe you got purple hair, or, you just like to express yourself in a different way. And you have your own parenting style, because this deer card can talk about, mother energy, or, a celebration of some sorts. Maybe you celebrate things differently than everybody. There's nothing wrong with that, but you are unique. Own it. Make that your power. Take action on it. Your divine feminine energy is sit stationed for a moment and slow down your thoughts. Makes a lot of sense next to the deer card, because she's very calm looking. Like, look at her eyes and all this green energy that is around her when she's not running across a highway road. And like, do you see yourself doing that, where you are this deer kind of like in headlights, and you were meant to walk along the highway rather than dancing back and forth between life and death? And like, there's a bridge here that needs to be made to make it easier for you. And that is one thing that you need to take action on. If you realize that you are constantly finding yourself between a crunch time, if you will. It's like, I have a certain amount of time to get across from point A to point B. Widen the gap in your favor. Create a solution that helps you be able to walk over this is making me think of the nervous system that is constantly being wound up and in fight or flight response. And when a hunter comes around you, it's like, do I run, or do I focus on the shiny that's in his hands? It's like that. But like right now, your mind is being fixated on something, and your guides are wanting you to create something with this situation, to do something with it, to not just stand there and let it sit by, to not become scared of whatever is being shown your way. It's like, do you think the deers would stop moving at night if the moon was out? They wouldn't. The moon is not traveling towards them. There is something traveling towards you, however. And your guides don't want you to be scared of this opportunity being presented. Like, this is something that is going to create a lifelong legacy for you. Now, since I can't leave away from the deer energy, this is a guide that is working with you, that is very nurturing, very mother-like. And they're wanting you to have this same kind of energy for yourself, where you are very loving and understanding of, your strengths and weaknesses, what you are capable of doing versus what you are not, and owning it, being okay that there are just some things that you are unsure of that aren't your areas of expertise, and that you could always, like if someone is very experienced in what they are doing or what they build or have a legacy for themselves that you can shadow underneath, because job shadowing, even like this would be a great time to do that. And this card can even talk about potentially being a new parent to something. You may actually find that you are about to have a child, or thinking about having your own children, your own legacy, creating your own highway. And is it a busy highway, or is it a highway that you find is going to be constantly backed up and going through all sorts of different detours? But this is being, a parent to something that you're trying to create. This can be an idea, a project, a task that you've been thinking about, and not letting fear of, if I were to create it, what other people would say. If you are wanting to create new content, if you're a content creator, but you're like uncertain of, because it's like you don't want that name to be attached. It's like having an anonymous name or an identity where you can like put a mask on and safely express yourself. And then when you're not, doing that performance, you can take it off and be mommy dearest or father dearest, and have your own secret life that nobody has control over or tries to say this is how you should be living your life. But this deer wants you to be fully present, to celebrate your milestones, celebrate something in your life, and have time for quiet thoughts where you can be tender to yourself, be tender to others. And when you find that you are overstimulated, step out in nature, because this is a nature kind of card. We even have the King of Pentacles here. Children may even be able to help you be more receptive to your own emotions or needs, because a child, if they see you crying, they'll come up to you. And there are some children out there that probably wouldn't do this, my brothers, but there are children who will see you at, you start to feel deflated. You want someone to acknowledge you for the artwork that you make, and they'll come up and tell you, I really like what you've done. I like how you created this. I like how you colored it this way. I like, and, embrace the compliments of a child. Now, if they don't have a good compliment, because children can be very hurtful with their words, then, just take it with a grain of salt. But you may find that you're around a lot more younger kids than you normally would be. And your guides are just trying to help you, show you if you're going to be a mom to another spirit or another soul, be a mom to your own soul even as well. But let me go ahead and talk about what is going to be reflected, or what you're going to be reflecting on the past 18 months before I get sidetracked. So we have devotion, potency, making your life a moving prayer. When you're surrendered to a state of devotion, you find yourself flowing with all of life. You're being called to refocus your attention deep within, to the intelligence of your own heart, to bow with deep reverence to your inner temple, to live your life in devotion to this place, to make your life one big moving prayer. Perhaps you felt a bit off kilter lately, sensing that the potency of why you're doing things has gotten a little watered down or weak. Perhaps you've forgotten what made you start doing them in the first place. If so, this is your call to take a moment and reconnect with the truth at the very center of your heart, to get back to the essence of what you're about, to devote your life to what you care most about, to turn your gaze deep, 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 deep. There are seasons for harvesting and seasons for sowing. Right now, you're being called to plant your soul's seeds and sing to them with deep devotion, to feed them with the sweet waters of your own soul, to lose yourself in the potency of what is that most expands your heart, to live your life according to what makes you come alive, rather than what everyone else thinks, to make your life one big moving prayer. And the biggest question it keeps repeating is, how can you make your life a moving prayer? And I've never thought of that ever, not once. When you're wanting to manifest things in your life, pray with it, work with it, meditate on it, think deep to what it is that really makes you happy, that you want to take action on. But really look at what you want to be devoted to. And I love that it talked about things that are being watered down. If you find that, like in the past 18 months, whenever you try to start something, and at first you had all the energy to do it, but then each day, it's like having that daily ritual, or that, it's making me think of an exercise routine where you've been doing it every day and then it starts to lose its medicine for you. And now you're having to do something a little bit more different. But when you start to notice things are becoming watered down, remember to refuel it with, the original vision, or how you can tweak it and change it up. Now, the reset button that you are getting is the King of Coins, and he is showing you how to be a leader of your life and set examples. If you are stepping into a new paternal role or a new leadership role of some kind, you get to define how you want to lead, not how someone else leads or does the dance. You are doing it. You're showing others how to be more compassionate and nurturing with this energy. And you're looking at proofs of your own achievements. Like, you're going to constantly remind yourself, like if you have a trophy of some kind, or if you have, a banner that was given to you, actually display it so you can remember how great you are, the works you've done. And I just imagine somebody that says, what my achievement is, and then you've got pictures of your baby all over the place, or whatever this is for you, your own personal baby. This could be a car project, this could be your legacy that you're proud of, something that you've just spent a lot of time devoting your energy to. It's looking at all the storms you have survived in life, all the times you were tough, and when you were tough, the rewards that you were given. It's when you have made something from nothing. And this king is helping you reset in a way that allows you to manage all areas of your life, like your finances, your wealth, your home and work, creating a balance between all those things. So that way you can be this wise counsel that people look up to. You're going to be able to share your success. You're going to acknowledge that you do make a difference, and everybody is going to look back and see the road in which you grew up on. They're going to see that at one point it was a dirt road, and then you started paving it, layering it, giving it a direction, giving it hills and obstacles, and showing people, when you are going through these obstacles and you reach that climax, then you are coasting downhill at a much faster pace, and it's much more, it gives you more drive. But be proud of yourself. Be proud of where you've come from. Be proud of your roots. This King of Coins has no problem greeting and acknowledging everyone, right down to the earthworm, the people who push and motivate things along. And in pile 2, we actually did have an earthworm. We all have to start from somewhere. So let's start from scratch, so that way we can make the best of life how we want to build it. And this King of Coins is giving you that. He's handing you the flower, the sun, the knowledge that you need in order to make your life a living prayer. But that is your reading for this full moon, and I really hope that it resonated for you. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe. That's one of the best ways to help support this channel and help motivate it in the right direction. And I'm always open for feedback, guys. So if you want to see a specific reading or a specific kind of theme, please let me know. I'm more than open to suggestions. And I'm going to go ahead and head off here. But if you enjoyed watching this, like I said, subscribe so that way you can see more. Bye.